is staying consistent with your content really less about the fact that you have great content in your head and more the fact that it takes forever to get to a position where you can record that content and you can get it out there, and so that by the time you get your setup ready for you to record the awesomeness in your head, you actually end up losing the motivation. I can tell you this has been me for so long. And today I wanted to walk you through actually my podcast workflow, but I believe that this workflow can actually be applied to pretty much anything, whether you're a creator on YouTube, whether you're making Instagram reels, like whatever you're doing, I think that this can be applied, but I'm going to go through it as my podcast workflow. And I hope that this is super helpful with just simplifying things so that you can get your genius out there into the world. Welcome to AI for Mompreneurs. This podcast is for moms who are tired of doing everything the hard way. You're running a business, managing a home, caring for your children, and making a million decisions daily, exhausted, overwhelmed, burned out, and out of time. Another planner won't fix it, more productivity hacks won't either. I know because I've been there. I'm Samantha Welch, a wife, a mom to 3 daughters, homeschooling my girls and my niece, running multiple businesses, and managing my 40-acre farm. I've burned myself out more times than I can count trying to do it all with excellence. The game changer? AI. When I learned how to use AI as my personal assistant, everything shifted. I finally had systems that worked, clarity in my business, and more time for what actually matters. Now I'm here to help you do the same. Learn how AI can take the mental load off your plate so you can focus on what truly matters most. No tech jargon or complicated setups here. Just AI that works for mamas just like us. Are you ready? Let's dive in. So the first thing that might actually super surprise you that I have been doing, but it has been the key for me staying consistent, is I actually record all of my episodes within the recorder on my phone. So I hold my phone about 6 inches from my mouth and I just start talking. And I just literally in my head have the picture of whoever I'm going to be talking to on the other end. And I just start talking to her as if I were sending her a voice memo of whatever, like answering a question that she had or an encouragement or whatever it is. And I just feel like that has really taken away a lot of barriers for me, because before I would need to get my laptop set up and my desk set up and my mic, and then I would need everything to be quiet because the mic picks up everything. And I couldn't do it if my kids were doing school because my office and the dining room connect. And so that by the time I was inspired and I was like, I'm going to record a bunch of episodes today, and then things didn't go well, I would end up losing that inspiration and I wouldn't record anything because I couldn't get it to be that perfectness. But I'd listened to this podcast and she was doing just voice memos, and I'm like, her sounds just fine. And honestly, I think in the era of AI, and everyone having access to that studio quality equipment, I'm going to suggest, this is just a theory and it may be just me feeling good about my approach to things, but I'm going to suggest that more real voice memo type style of things is actually going to be attractive to people because it's going to sound a lot more real and it's not going to sound like something that could have been generated with AI. So that's just a theory that I have. But the biggest truth about this is the fact that if I wait until everything is perfect to record an episode, to create the content, I will actually just not do it at all. So that's my first step. My first step is I just mass record all of my episodes onto my phone. As I am doing right now, I'm literally sitting on my couch, I'm looking out my window, and I am just recording this episode. The second thing that I do after I record this episode is I do a quick, simple edit. I don't go in and do a bunch of editing and perfecting and everything. I just upload the audio I use a program called Descript. I really like it because it's a transcript editing so that you can actually pinpoint words and take them out. And I do their AI automatic cleaning up the filler words. I go and there will be a place or two where I will have started a sentence and then didn't really like the sentence. And so then I'll restart the sentence, but they're pretty easy to find. I'll just simply edit those out and then I'll call it good because I can't overcomplicate this or I won't do it. I have found that with myself, if I overcomplicate something too much, I will actually just not do it at all. And I am trying, and actually, as of the last couple months, one of my themes in my business is that getting something out there is better than getting something out there that's perfect. So it's better just to get it out, just to share the information, to share your knowledge, and it will be perfected as you practice doing it. So anyway, I voice record my podcast episodes. I usually have like 3 or 4 episodes on my phone at a time. The day that I'm going to post the episode, I will go in, I will download the audio, I will upload it into Descript. Honestly, I would like to change that a little bit where I'm actually editing and having the podcast episode ready and scheduled so that I'm not working on the podcast episode that goes out that day on that day. But as with everything, you get into a rhythm, you get into a habit, and then you add more to it. And you build upon the habit you have already instead of just trying out the gate to do everything you would like to do eventually. So right now I have a really good flow of recording podcast episodes through the week. As the inspiration hits, I have like a content idea map a little bit, but then also I find that some of my best episodes are the ones that I just shared the thoughts that I was having right then. So I do have a bit of a content calendar, but I also am a little bit of a free winging it too because just seems how it works best for me. So I have the episodes and then the day of I take it, download it, upload it into Descript. And then from Descript, I do the edit and then I export it onto my computer. But before I do the full export, I will go and I will do a copy and paste of the transcript of that podcast episode. And here is where the next step comes in. And the next step is that I use ChatGPT to do all the rest of the steps, basically. So I have a podcast document and I am actually working to make that into a template that I can share with my membership because it has been so helpful. I know that there is a whole debate on custom GPTs, and I do believe that there is definitely a place for those, and there are people who know how to use them very well. I personally have not had the best, and I'm sure there's going to be people who say, well, you're not using them right, and it's probably true. But I've not had the best results with custom GPTs, and that is because I find that the generic telling it the way to speak, like she speaks in a warm, friendly voice, is a little too generic for how I actually speak. So I have been utilizing what is called projects, and if you pay for ChatGPT, which is the $20 a month, you get access to projects. And within each project folder, you can upload a file, a document that instructs that project on how to act every time you put new content in it. So in other words, I have a document that gives full instructions on everything I want to have happen when I upload the transcript into this project file. And the reason why this works so much better than a GPT, and I know I'm kind of going all over the place here, but I wanted to come back around to this. The reason why that this works so much better than a GPT is because my assistant still remembers my voice, my wording, things about me. It can insert stories, details that a custom GPT cannot, because a custom GPT cannot actually read the memory of your ChatGPT and can't go and reference other chats. It is just a thing within itself. So it's going to be very generic, you might say, and it's only going to be able to give information based on what you upload. So, in other words, if I was using a custom GPT and I uploaded the podcast transcript, all it has is that podcast transcript to go off of to do everything else, versus I want it to be a well-rounded thing. So I want it to go off of everything it knows about me plus the train. I hope that made sense. Anyway, so the document has instructions, very detailed instructions on what I want, but the basic gist is I ask it to write me a blog post. I ask it to write me a email newsletter. I ask it to write an SEO rich show notes, title, everything, show description. I ask it to do an Instagram post and a Threads post. And I have like lots of detail in there about who I serve, keywords that I want to have used, etc., etc. Like how long I want the blog post, the style of newsletter. I have all of that detail. So it's pulling from that detail, it's pulling from everything it knows about me from the memory, and it's pulling from the transcript. So the results are actually quite amazing because it's so much well-rounded. And then of course, I never, ever encourage you just to copy and paste something that AI has spit out. So you must go in, you must read over everything it does, change it to where it is more like you, because even though this is fairly foolproof, it's still going to spit out things every once in a while where you're like, what? That's not quite right. And especially for me, like my newsletter, I think that's very important that is very me. And so I do quite a bit of tweaking on the newsletter, not so much on the blog post because that's more for SEO in the future, because I am still working on getting my blog together. And as far as like show notes and stuff, I'm not super worried about that either, because that's more of a search engine for the podcast thing. But when it comes to like newsletter, Instagram, and thread posts, I do a little bit of tweaking because I want it to make sure it's very genuine to me. But because it is going off of everything about me, it actually does a really good job at getting it fairly right the first time. So after I do that, I've uploaded the transcript into ChatGPT. I have the customized PDF that I've uploaded into that project. It spits all of that stuff out, which is amazing. The next thing I do is I upload the actual audio into my podcast host, and then I get that posted. Those come out Thursday mid-morning, every single Thursday. And then I go and I work on my newsletter and my social media posts. So my newsletter goes out every single Friday. So I will go. I have templates inside my newsletter place, which I use system.io. Amazing program. So I have templates there. I just simply do a duplicate. I go in, I put the newsletter content in there, I change up any links, pictures, whatever I'm needing to do. But also the point of this too is I keep it super simple. So it's literally like the words, some links to take them to what I'm referring to and to the podcast episode. And then I pretty much leave everything the same. I may or may not add a photo. I'm trying to keep this so simple that it's foolproof. It can basically be done on the go without me hardly thinking about it. So once I get the newsletter loaded, I schedule it to go out for Friday. Then I go and I have the Instagram and the Threads post, and I actually do those on Monday. And that's it. That is how I stay consistent with this podcast. And I also use these same principles when it comes to other stuff. And you can see how I've kind of coupled habits in together. So the podcast is like the main source of content. And then I have habits stacked where the newsletter just always comes after that. And then the social media always comes after that. Just to try to make it to where it is so easy. And like I said, it's so foolproof that for me, I can't make an excuse in my mind of, well, I just can't do that today because the kids are being too loud, or my desk is a mess, or I can't find enough time to stop, and I just have to make it to where I can write out this whole script and do all of this. I know I have to make it to where it is so easy for me to do this that I don't even think anymore. I hope this was so helpful and also maybe inspired you to rework your workflow a little bit, to create some templates, to create a PDF that you upload to where things become so automatic and so streamlined that you can't make any more excuses on getting your genius out into the world. And if you would like more details on that, and also to get access to the PDF that I use to do this workflow, and then also the email templates that I use in order to just keep a simple newsletter going out every week, I would love for you to become a founding member of my Business Memos membership. As with the name, it is basically that same idea of just taking my phone, doing a business memo to a best friend, and just sharing knowledge and insight and helping them with clarity. I love this kind of thing. It's something that I feel like I have been gifted with. And I love so much being able to help other moms run businesses so smoothly that it almost feels like autopilot. So anyway, I have so enjoyed this chat with you, and I cannot wait to chat in the next episode. That's it for today's episode. I hope you learned something new or had a breakthrough. If you loved this episode, take a second to subscribe, rate, and leave a review. It lets me know you're enjoying this content and helps more moms find it. And if you know another mama who's struggling with overwhelm and burnout, share this with her. Let's spread the word that AI isn't just for corporate executives or tech nerds, it's for moms like us. Until next time, go make AI work for you.